welcome to the first episode of Mayhem. Let's hit it! But let's get into it, starting with the first overall pick in the NFL draft, which ended up being Bryce Young. No shock. That's why I'm wearing the Panthers jersey. Not a Panthers fan, but have this as like old Cam Newton jersey. So I decided to put it on. Bryce Young, coming out of college, had amazing seasons at Alabama, like any other quarterback at Alabama. Mac Jones, Tua Tagovailoa. I mean, there's been quarterbacks that came out, but I think Bryce Young distributed himself away from that flock of quarterbacks and made himself like his own class. I mean, Nick Saban, great with college quarterbacks, but transferring over to the NFL level, not so much. Tua Tagovailoa, he's good, but he's not MVP-like. Mac Jones, trouble with teammates and coaches, which I get, but he's not transferred over to that MVP level. He had a Pro Bowl season his first season, but that's not good enough. He lost the playoffs this year, lost a playoff spot this year, and almost lost his start to Bailey Zappi. I mean, so Nick Saban does not make NFL quarterbacks, but Bryce Young will be the first one to do that. I feel like he's distributing himself already, passing stats. He's got that game mentality when he walks in a game. He's neglected all the things about his size and durability and just translated that to the football field. Over 4,000 yards in his second season at Alabama. He had more than 3,500 yards in his last season, 185 rushing yards in his last season, and he put up Heisman numbers in his second season. I mean, what all do you want from a guy that's going under Nick Saban and is the first overall selection? I mean, if you're like, oh, I think I would have taken C.J. Stroud. C.J. Stroud did not do good on his cognitive test. And that's probably why he got taken second overall. Jumping ahead of myself. But I think Bryce Young was the more polished quarterback in this draft. I think he had the potential to do and become a first-round pick. He's the first Alabama quarterback to ever be selected first overall, and you're probably like, dang. And there's so many quarterbacks that come out of Alabama, and for Bryce Young to be the first one, I think Nick Saban has developed such a great young athlete in Bryce Young that I think he'll be NFL ready. I mean, I don't see any flaws with him. His height, you're going to relate him to a Drew Brees type of build. He's got the arm, which he can sling it down very far. He's got the speed to rush out the pocket like Kyler Murray. I could relate him my best to say Russell Wilson, but I think he'll be a better, more polished Russell Wilson. I think he's NFL ready. I think his durability is fine. I think Kyler Murray just got an ACL tear. He's been playing since 2019. I think Bryce Young is ready in the Panthers he's not got a great receiving core, but I still think he'll still take it to another level under Frank Wright and the head coaching staff. I think he's NFL ready, I think he'll put up great stats in his first season, maybe not Pro Bowl-like numbers, but I think after his first season, he'll take great steps into becoming another number one quarterback. So, for my final grade, I'm going to have to put him at an A. I think he's the best NFL prospect there was in that draft. But I do not think he's A+. I think he's A. Like, he's amazing. Like, I'm a Georgia Bulldogs fan, and I can say he's very, very good against the top-level Georgia defense. He is good. He's no pressure, nothing needed for him. And I think in the NFL, he's just going to, it's going to be like college. He's just going to go up to another game. So, A for Bryce Young, and let's move on to the second overall pick. The number 2 overall pick, as you all know, the Texans selected C.J. Stroud. C.J. Stroud, I had before the cognitive test going number 1. Loved his side. He put up a fight against that nasty Georgia defense, which I've said is my team. And they're good. I mean, Kirby Smart's known for building defenses. And C.J. Stroud almost beat them if it wasn't for a missed field goal. I mean, the man, you can't ask more from him. I mean, C.J. Stroud is completely NFL ready, I feel like. The cognitive test, I feel like he's going to prove the doubters all wrong on that cognitive test and show, hey, that doesn't matter. I'm going to be IQ. I'm going to be game ready. I'm going to put my knowledge onto the field and throwing deep balls as he loves to do. He's not a scrambling quarterback. He's more. I could relate him to probably Tom Brady, because Tom Brady's, of course, the GOAT. But he's a sit in the pocket kind of guy. Wait for his passes to develop, and if he needs to, he'll rush past defenders. I mean, he's not going to sit there. He's not like a Aaron Rodgers. He has the mobile speed to rush out the pocket, but he's not going to every now and then. He cares more about his safety, and he wants to chuck those. He wants to throw deep passes rather than try to scramble and get his legs knocked off. But I think CJ Stroud going number 2 to the Texans is the Texans front office got to do that. They have not had a great QB since Deshaun Watson. They've been down that hole. And before that, they hadn't had any great QBs that were in the Texans front office since 2002. So they've got to handle his situation right, or he's not going to want to stay, and he's just going to ask to leave. I mean, they did let go Brandon Cooks. He's only got Dalton Schultz to throw to. So he's got to be ready. He had Jackson Smith and Jigba in college to throw to. Now he doesn't. So he's got to be able to use what he has in his resources and be able to improvise. And I think CJ Stroud's a great quarterback. I think he's got the arm and he's got the size to do it. I think he'll end up being a B+. I think the cognitive test kind of let me down. I'd put him at A+ probably. But the cognitive test kind of let me down. But I still think he's ready. I still think he's ready to step on the field. I think him and Bryce Young are so close to being, which one was going to go first. It was a debate up until that cognitive test. And I think he probably will show all the doubters wrong. But, of course, I could be wrong. That cognitive test could. He scored the lowest in the whole NFL draft out of any quarterback. The closest one was Hendon Hooker at 42%. So I think, of course, I think he'll do it. So B+, I'm going to leave him at B+. Obviously, he could be a Super Bowl MVP. He could turn into a Patrick Mahomes kind of guy that leads offenses. No matter the size, no matter the depth chart or who he has on that offense, he just needs one great quality pass catcher, and he's gonna win Super Bowls. So, B+, I think is the best I can give him right now. I think Bryce Young is better, but let's head on to the number 3 pick with the Texans going back to back. With the 3rd overall selection in the NFL draft, the Texans ended up trading up to select their guy, Will Anderson Jr. If there wasn't a great QB in the draft, Will Anderson's going 1st overall. Many prospects even thought that he could be the 1st overall pick over CJ Stroud or Bryce Young. Obviously, the teams needed a QB, not an outside linebacker. Will Anderson, I think he's a Aaron Donald type of guy. He's like a game changer. 17.5 sacks in his 2nd year at college. 10 sacks in his last. I mean, I don't think there's any doubt in my head that he's left anything on that field that I don't feel like he could have done better. I mean, you're getting a guy number 3, the Texans traded up for him. I think he's changing the way of the game if the Texans handle him right. If they can manage his talent well, then he'll wreck games. He'll be an Aaron Donald type of guy, Nick Bosa. I think he could end up 2nd or 1st overall in sacks. I think that's just how good he is. I think he's got that type of skill to change defense, change the way of the game. Many people say defense wins championships, and he could turn a defense into a Super Bowl defense. Just like that, because I think he's amazing. And I think with the 3rd pick, the Texans got their guy. I'm gonna give him an A. I'm gonna give him an A. I want to give him an A+, but I feel like I'm gonna give him an A+. I think he's the guy for the Texans. They're gonna get what they got for them trading up. I think the Cardinals are happy too. They ended up getting their guy at 12 overall. So no, they actually traded up. So my bad. But I think they got their guy and the Texans got their guy. So I think everyone's happy in the situation. It wasn't selling the farm, but I think the Texans are super happy that they got their guy at number 3, and it slid down. It was obvious that he wasn't going to be the number 1 or number 2 consecutive pick. But so he just slid down to 3 right into the Texans' hands. He's an A+. I don't think I can say more on the topic of that he's ready to wreck offenses. He'll give Trevor Lawrence a darn time in Jacksonville when he plays him 2 times a year. I think Texans handle him right. The sky's the limit. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. I really like making videos for other people to enjoy. So if you guys enjoyed this video, feel free to leave a like or subscribe or hit that notification bell. I'm not going to tell you to, because if you don't want to, you don't have to. But either way, thank you guys so much for watching. This is only part 1. If I continued with only the first 10 picks, this would have been 30 to 40 minutes long. But I really hope you guys enjoyed. Hopefully part 2 will be coming out soon. Make sure to check out for that. But either ways, keep it here. Asher from Sports Nation.